that oat milk.
Yes, iced latte always.
I came to her house. I was like, I want chai. She said, you can make chai with oat milk.
Yeah.
But it's surprisingly good.
Dark.
Okay, this whole setup that you were seeing is like the books, the covers. 80% of them are designed by her. So I was like, I'm gonna use this as for my video.
Wait, no, I don't. These are the published ones. Naseha K, those are the ones that I designed.
We can add them in the Instagram. Today we have Naseha Khan with us. I'm sitting down with the poet and now published author Naseha Khan. And I promise you, by the end of this, you would want to read every word of the book that she has written. Hi Naseha, how are you?
Hi Nisha, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I just saw your book and obviously I've ordered off the Amazon, and you guys can check the link in my bio to order this book as well. So we are going to start her interview a little bit about the origin story. So I'm going to ask her some questions and let's see how things goes.
Okay, that sounds good. And I want to say thank you for having me. This is a really big honor and I really appreciate that.
And it's a big honor for me as well to interview a published author for the very first time. Okay, so first question, I actually jotted down, I went through your Instagram stories and obviously book, and I got the gist of it, and how the writing style is and how things are. So take me back to the very first poem you wrote. How old were you and what made you put pen to paper for the very first time?
This is interesting. I recently actually posted about this too. Growing up, I did not actually really care for poetry at all. My exposure was English literature, Shakespeare, Edgar Allan Poe, those kind of things. So I always thought, okay, I am not going to really enjoy poetry. I used to journal. I used to just I really enjoyed English literature and all of that. So I used to enjoy writing. But this was in 2015, March of 2015. I still remember this very clearly. I was sitting at the job that I had at my desk, and it was one of those situationships that occurred, the texting of, hey, how are you doing? You know, after ghosting kind of thing. And at that time I was like, oh my God. And that was it. In that moment, like all of a sudden, I just wrote this poem, and I didn't even realize I'm writing a poem. And I looked at it and I was like, did I write this? And that was the first time I was like, okay, I guess I can write poetry.
Okay, was there a specific person or an event or a loss or a moment, I chose many words for this, that cracked you open and made you realize that writing wasn't just a hobby, it's something you needed?
Yes, after that I started kind of, some of this was inspired by broken hearts and so on and so forth, but a lot of my poetry was definitely inspired after first when my mom passed away and then when my brother passed away, because I think it really helped me process in some ways where I could kind of put those feelings. I'm not a person that's very good with emotions outwardly, so I could put those feelings onto paper. So I would definitely credit them, and they're the first two people I've given my credits to in the book.
That's really nice that you were able to put your words out in a book, and then obviously it's a way of your expression of emotions. And obviously I went through your writing style and I saw it so distinct, like typewriter fonts, sparse lines, and enormous meaning packed in few words. Did you concisely develop that aesthetic, or did it just appear one day?
I think in a way it appeared one day, like the first poem that I wrote, it was just like that. I think I realized that in poetry, oddly enough, I do not like complete sentences, and I very much so enjoy metaphors. So when I am writing, I think the impact is in very just short sentences that can kind of fit a lot into one. So I do try to lean towards that, and if you read it, you'll notice that very rarely are there like full complete sentences. It's very choppy, the grammar parts are very different, so it is very intentional now.
Nice. So this part, the reason I am asking this question is that because I also struggle with this, and you wrote everything in English, but you grew up in a Pakistani household. So did you ever feel like you were writing between two worlds, like two languages, two cultures, and two different versions of yourself?
Honestly, in the beginning, in much of this original journey, no, but towards the latter part of it, yes. I think having grown up here, cultural identity was definitely very difficult, and honestly not something that I thought of. But now that when I started like pretty much in my 30s, then I started to think about it more and more and more. And that's one of the reasons why I had my husband Anas, write some of the things in Urdu so I can kind of incorporate that part of me in there as well.
And so I want to ask you questions. If you want to skip it, that's fine. But I did stalk you, and I did went through your old poetry, like from 2016 or something. And I read one. It says, "Ammi, that poem about your mother is devastating in the best way. How do you write about grief without breaking you every single time someone reads it back to you?"
This is interesting. I think this is a bigger conversation on grief. I think that especially if somebody has not gone through the grief, they imagine that it must be a very difficult thing maybe to write about it. But I realize that when you go through grief, you become almost, I wouldn't say immune to it, but you kind of look at it in a dark sense of humor in a way, right? So when I'm writing, I've missed my mom, or I've had some strong emotion, and so then I write it and I feel it. But then when I look back at it, it invokes emotion for me, but there's also a sense of it's something that just happened, and it's not like, it might not take me to a place that it might take somebody who has not gone through that grief.
And I also read that you mentioned about your sister again and again. So you wrote these words, "Sister," that ends with a child again, the youngest one spoiled to the core and home. So that's your sister. Does she actually know you see her that way?
Honestly, I wrote that poem and I sent that to her, and she was so emotional about it because as being the little sister, she's the one, she comes to me and she tries to hug me, she showers me with love and everything, and I'm very like, don't touch me, blah, 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 So again, I'm not good at emotionally, emotionally expressing myself in words. So I think like poetry is my outlet to tell people, hey, actually I do care about you.
Uruj is like the similar way. Like whenever I try to, she's like, "Mujhe sabke saath pyar nahi hai."
Exactly.
Mujhe mat छुए. And then kya kare? And then when she's like gone away right now to a different state, she's like texting me, "Hey, thank you so much for everything. Hey, I miss you." I was like, stop bombarding me with so many messages.
Yeah, I don't know. I think little sisters tend to, because I feel like big sisters, they're so caring and loving, and then we're like, in a way, take advantage of it. And I'm like, it's okay. But I think they know deeply that we love them.
So you mentioned in your poems the word survivor, which describes a woman as a dragon in the skin of a princess. So who were you writing that for? Does she know?
I won't say the name, but yes, actually I did write it for a very specific example that I had. I met somebody, and I think just because of the way that I dress or present myself, she just assumed that I was not worthy of really any conversation because I didn't look like I had survived anything. That I look like I dress nice, and so I must not have gone through any struggles. I don't have kids, so maybe I don't have any sort of struggle. So she kind of just really ignored me. And at another time, I had a conversation where I kind of exposed some of my struggles, like such as immigration and things of that sort. And immediately, she became a different person.
I know whom you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. So that's what inspired that it's not at surface value, especially for women. And I really respect women who can present themselves in such a way that people would not know what's happening behind the scenes. You're an amazing example of that. You dress amazing. Looking at you, nobody will ever be able to guess all of the stuff that you have struggled and gone through. And I think that's respectful.
But I think the book that you have just published now, it's here, The Heart's Logic. It's going to be the best answer for all the things that people have judged you for. And I feel like that's the most powerful way to respond to people.
Yeah, I hope so.
By your own work, even by your existence. So you say better days end with, what are you? If not just a bygones echo. Is that about anxiety, about identity? What is the honest answer?
What does it say again?
Better days end with, what are you? If not just a bygones echo.
Yeah, that one, if I am recalling, this is actually just should mujhe poem ki reminder do. I can't remember which one it is.
So ye wali poem ka, it was, I think in 2018 you shared it. It was with a photo of your brother and your mom, in which you mentioned about it. So I'll add the continuation of that. It says, rose petal jam,
Mm-hmm.
and then making gulkand instead of pressing or throwing away roses. So, with that, is that your entire philosophy on pain in just 8 lines?
It's not just in pain, it's just things in general, right? Taking something, and I think it's the point of view about being optimistic in life, right? If something has happened, if there's something, how can you learn from that? How can you use that in life to really fuel your self-worth rather than treating it as something that happened to you or something to just entirely ignore? It's more of like, how can I make this part and grow? So that's what it's actually
That's a
about.
wonderful take, actually, because I read this quotation by Jane Akram. He said that journey is not something that bas you have reached a goal. It's something what type of person you have become within
Yes.
that journey.
Yes.
And if you follow discipline and routine every day might feel the same. But if you don't, every year will feel the same.
Yes.
That's a very good point. कि
Yes.
हर साल same ही रहना फिर.
Yes, and I agree, and I think that one of the things that I have learned from this is that I'm happy, very happy of who I am as a person, but I realize that I would not be the person I am today had it not been for all the things that I have gone through, and accepted and learned to know that that's a part of life, and how do I make this to grow myself. So I think taking all the dark things life throws at us and turning it into something more meaningful just makes you, I don't know, wiser person.
I saw a status. I don't know. This shouldn't be funny, and I'm such a bad person to laugh at it. But you mentioned that most of the things wouldn't be in the book if your mom and brother would have been here. But that was funny. But yes, still.
Yes, I think a loss tends to bring out the dark humor in people for sure, and it's true. Had they not been here, a lot of this is based off of them. So I give them my thanks. I wrote that by them passing away, I got this book. So thank you for making that sacrifice.
So with that, we'll be diving into the book. So it says volume 1. So we'll talk about this volume 1, the heart's logic. The title itself, logic and heart, don't belong like in the same sentence. That's what I was thinking when I got I was reading and I was like, heart and logic doesn't go together. So what's the logic you actually found inside your own heart?
This is the reason why this is actually called that is this is something that I have struggled with. I am generally try to be a rational, logical person, and it's very hard for me to pass through the logic into the emotions. But as grief happens, as things happen in life, I realize that emotions are a really big part of us and not for us to just push down and ignore, right? And there has to be a moment where logic and emotions, heart, right? They meet. And we say the heart is just that, emotions. It doesn't have logic, it doesn't have that. But I think it does. It's when they come together and you're able to kind of think using both things, your heart and your logic. And so that's kind of where the name came from, because it's like two very opposing forces. So thinking about the heart's logic, we're like, is that it? But I'm like, yes, that is what it is. That's what exists.
I just want to add one point, obviously I'm also a very emotional person, and then sometimes people say that if you're swayed away by your emotions, maybe you're not a smart person, you're not taking smart decisions. But I think that most of the emotional decisions I have taken are now paying off.
Yes.
Because कितना ही पैसा जमा कर लेंगे, कितना ही कर लेंगे, but if you're doing a lot of things with your own resources or someone, the joy it gives back to you, that is the logic.
Yes,
you can get.
100%. And to that point, I think that, and we'll get into this for next volume, but I think women are taught that emotions are a bad thing, when in fact that is actually the biggest strength that we have.
So how did you decide which poems made it into the book and which ones didn't? Was there a poem you almost included but pulled at the very last moment?
Actually, no, this is a compilation of everything that I've written in the past 11 years, which it's not much, honestly. It's like, I think 100 or so, but it's been everything that in that moment I had felt something has inspired me or whatnot. But yeah, pretty much everything that I have written, it's in there. I have not excluded anything.
So do you think if, so I just started, but when I be able to complete this book, hopefully in a week, before your book launch party at Hookah Social.
Yes.
So do you think we'll be able to know you really well about the whole journey? Or it's still, portrayed in a way that now it's up to your own perspective, whatever you want to think, or is it like straightforward?
No, I think the poetry that I write is generally very, very metaphorical. I actually did an exercise with Anas where we took some of them and I asked him to give me some of the meanings that he thought. And it surprisingly was not it was not what I had intended for it to be. So I think as a reader, whatever journey you are going through, most likely people will like interpret that as that. Because usually reading poetry, you're not looking to understand the writer's life. You're trying to read it to how can it relate to your own self. So if you notice a lot of the poems, I usually don't write in first person. It's not like an I, it's very focused on you or they or them, so that the focus kind of leans towards everybody.
So writing a poem takes a moment and writing a book is entirely different. What surprised you most about becoming a published author?
The support, to be honest. I have a very hard time. I'm very antisocial, maybe, socially awkward, so I have a very hard time, making friends. I have a very small social circle, but I have been so surprised by the support that people are willing to give. And it made me realize publishing, that community is so important. And it is so important to give and take, So that was actually the biggest learning curve for me. I appreciate it so much. I'm so grateful.
Yes, and Amy, I think, is one of the
yes, she has bullied people to make sure they get a copy. I think honestly, you, Amy, and Anas have been my biggest cheerleaders, and I think that just it has meant so much to me.
I'm honored to be in the list. So it's on Amazon right now. When you held this copy for the very first in your hands, what did you feel like?
I know the answer is that everybody thinks it's going to be like, oh my god, so exciting, oh my god, right? But no, really none of that. When I first got my first copy, I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's nice, okay. I don't know if it has not hit or because, I don't know, it was a work over so many years. I was happy, but I wasn't like, oh my god, yes, that feeling is still not like, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool,
I feel like when so many women, men as well, will start reaching out to you once they have read, and if they start relating to the poetry I've written, then it will, I think, hit you. Or maybe in a very good way, and you will feel grateful that you put your emotions into words and they're able to go through them.
Yes, I agree with that because I had one of my friends who I connected with after so long, I just saw her a couple of nights ago, and she came up to me, she's like, I didn't even know it was poetry because I draw art, so she thought it was something in the fan fiction, some realm, and she read it and she's like, it was one of the biggest compliments I received, and she was like, it's like roomy, but I could like relate to it, and I was like, oh, wow, so you are so right. When somebody can take that and actually affects them in a way, I think that there's no better feeling than that, 100%.
So it says volume 1. Obviously, volume 2 is out right now. And are you already writing it? And can you give us a single hint where it goes emotionally?
Yes, actually, it's something I was just talking to us about this today. So volume 2 is going to be a little bit in a more different direction. This right now, volume 1, has lots of different sections and it's focused on very many different things. But in this section of my life, I think there are two things that really stand out to me. One is my culture, what it means to be a Desi, Pakistani in this day and age in America, and secondly, being a woman. And that includes like all the things that come with being a woman, but on top of that, what does it mean to be a Desi Muslim woman? So my goal for this next book is going to really kind of bring all the things that are difficult for women and the things that wrongfully are taught by our culture and our religion, the things that are taught well, all of the things. So I think a lot of it is going to be really focused on women empowerment.
I'm your biggest advocate. And I just saw that I got this book as a gift, 109 Things to Say to Shatter the Male Ego. So I'm definitely going to read that as well. So this part is for the writers who are watching you from their home. So do you write every single day? Do you wait for something to hit you? Or are you disciplined or beautifully chaotic?
Good question. I wish I could write every day. Anas and I tried to do an exercise of finding a daily prompt and writing every day. I did it for like 4 days and he kept on continuing and I gave up. So I cannot. I do feel that I have to be inspired by something. And it hits me. Just yesterday I was listening to a Desi song that I've heard millions of times, but maybe because I'm in the mindset, I heard it and immediately an idea sparked and I went and I wrote it down. So I think for creative things, it's so important for something to spark you rather than to try to force it, because I think that just like kills the creativity. So I don't know, chaotic, but definitely not disciplined.
So I did read your poems, and one thing I've noticed that you never over-explain anything. It's like no long captions, no hand-holding. So in a world of content that screams for attention, why do you trust the readers that much?
Good question. Honestly, I never thought about it in that way of trusting the readers that much as hoping that even just whatever they take away with it, it means something to them. And that's why it's kind of vague, it's metaphorical, so that it can actually hit people in different ways. But with that being said, volume 2, I have plans for it to actually be very different in the sense that I may also be including poetry with the companion piece of prose as well.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. So you can skip this question, but if you want to answer, it's like, what do you do when you're doing something heavy, but the words absolutely refuse to come?
I ignore it.
So we can ignore this.
I don't do anything. When it's there, then I don't write. I try to ignore it in the sense then most likely I will take up another hobby. I will go into art. I will do something else instead of actually trying to focus on it, because I know when it's meant to come, that emotion will come when in a different way where I am capable of writing it. So ignoring it is the one.
So I just want to mention everyone, she's a big tech girl. She's working as a business analyst, and so with that said, poetry doesn't pay like your 9 to 5 right now because it pays really well. So did you almost ever give this up? Was there a moment where you thought maybe this isn't for me?
No, I never even thought that I would publish it. It wasn't up until this, I think 2024 that I, talking to Amy and Anas, that we were like, maybe I should publish something. But it was never, honestly, if you see my personal Instagram account, it was never done for anybody else but myself. So I never looked at it in that way. And now I think it will be an interesting journey, because I have taken hobbies in the past and turned it as a source of revenue. And it takes the fun out of it, takes the creativity out of it. So I want to make sure that that's never the focus, because that really, it makes it very difficult.
Okay, so this is like resonating with me so much, because I do talk to a lot of content creators. It could be like any educator or something. They are more like, itne ka course page to, itne ki consultation rag do. But then it's taking out that crust of it, that you really want to help people or maybe give back to the society, and it takes away the inspiration.
Yes.
Because when you start copying okay, this person has 1 million views, why not copy this style? Takes away your own style, your own creativity. So I really resonate with that part. If that turns into a source of revenue, well and good, but that shouldn't be the first intention.
Yes, exactly. And I think that especially in this day and age of social media, the pressure is so much. While you want to create your own things and whatnot, but getting that validation does feel a certain type of way, right? Like, it feels good to have people follow you. It feels good to have that view and know people are, interacting with you. So it's a very difficult line to follow. But yes, I definitely think that the things when you start feeling bitterness towards what you're doing and it becomes more of a chore you don't want to do, that's when I think the line is like, okay, this is when I need to take a pause and step back.
That's really something to ponder upon for everyone, but to each their own. So we'll do a quick rapid fire with her, and we are going to keep it light, lightning fast, and obviously no thinking aloud, only the first answer that comes in your mind. So
Okay, I'll try.
we'll start.
Okay.
Coffee or chai while writing?
Coffee, for sure.
And obviously that oat milk one.
Yes, iced latte always.
I came to her house. I was like, I want chai. She said you can make chai with oat milk.
Yeah.
But it's surprisingly good. Pen and paper or phone notes?
Pen and paper, for sure. Yes.
For me as well. The last book that made you cry?
When They Come For Us. Yes,
what's the author?
it is Fatma Ashir. It's a poem. It's a poetry book, and it just wow. It I don't cry easily, and wow, it definitely did.
One word to describe your writing voice.
Dark.
Okay, this whole setup that you were seeing is like the books, the covers. 80% of them are designed by her. So I was like, I'm gonna use this as for my video.
Wait, no, I don't. These are the published ones. Naseha K, those are the ones that I designed.
We can add them in the Instagram if you're
But
comfortable.
these are all the romanticities I do love.
Okay, so that's another part. It's not all dark. So morning writer or midnight writer?
Oh, midnight, for sure.
I was like, I'll answer this. A poet everyone should read, but probably hasn't.
Can I say two?
Yeah.
Noor and Nahar and Fatma Ashkar again.
I haven't read both of them. So what do you do when you hit a creative block? Eat, sleep, or spiral?
Brain rot. To be honest, Instagram scrolling. It's the best way.
Okay. Favorite poem you've ever written? Just a title, maybe.
Oh shoot, that's a tough one. It's called Maturity. Yes.
Yeah. If your book were a scent, what would it smell like?
I think roses. Maybe I like roses. I don't know.
Okay,
if
I
that's
just
a
mentioned
smell,
about
but I think
Gulkan.
so.
Yes.
Maybe.
One line from any poem, yours or someone else's, that lives in your head rent-free.
Oh my goodness, there's too much that lives in my head rent free. It's my own poetry. There are. Oh my gosh. It's about the. Shoot. I forgot.
It's
The
okay.
heart is dead. There's something about the heart being dead. That's what I can tell you.
Even if someone asks me, what do you do? I'm blank.
What was what I can't remember.
What do I do? Okay, The Harsh Logic Volume 2, one word teaser.
2 words, women empowerment.
Perfect. Okay, so this is like one of the last part and I really wanted to discuss this. If the 15-year-old version of you walked into the bookstore and picked up The Heart's Logic off the shelf, what do you think she would feel reading it?
Knowing that the 35-year-old me wrote it, or just a random person, because those are two different things.
Okay, let's take a random person.
Huh?
Let's take a random person.
Okay, well, I think 15-year-old me was a very, I was like a mean girl. I would probably look at it and be like, what is this garbage? This is not, no. I honestly don't think a 15-year-old me would appreciate it at all.
You know, I was
don't
so
think so.
super optimistic. I always thought like life will be, that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory bird. That was me.
No, I was very, I was angry, I was a mean girl, I was everything. And yes, I don't think I would have been appreciative enough of who I am today. I would have been, maybe, but I don't think so.
Last question. What do you want a complete stranger who has never heard of you to feel after they finish the very last page of your book?
I think I want them to feel reflective, that there are, life just doesn't have answers for everything, but it's okay to sit with that, and it's okay to sit with your emotions and just think about life, and that's what it is, that life is beautiful. I think that would be the last thing, that wow, life just shows us so many things, and that's what makes it so beautiful.
That's wonderful. She writes what people are afraid to even feel. So the Heart's Logic Volume 1 by Naseha K is out on Amazon. I'll add the link in the bio. And if this conversation even moved you a little bit, just imagine what the whole book does. And if you're published, or not a published, just a budding writer, or you're inspired by something and it makes you want to write your own book or your poetry, just drop in the comments and we would love to read it.
Yes, I would love to, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For giving me this honor of
No,
interviewing you.
thank you. Oh my goodness, I really enjoyed myself, and it is my honor that you chose me to do this interview. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naseha.